Hey Finxter, what's up? It's Chris, founder of Finxter.com, and in today's video I will proceed with my series about the Python operators. So I will go over all Python operators in this series, and I will probably load it up to the Finxter Academy as well. So in today's video we are going to discuss the less than operator. So yesterday we have already discussed the larger than operator or greater than operator, but yeah, in today's video I will keep it short and punchy. And so let's dive right into the less than operator. So in its most basic form, you can use the less than operator to compare two, so say integers, right? So for example, this is a greater than operator. So for example, you can compare 3 against 2 and check whether 3 is less than 2. And if you run the code, you see it is false. Okay, but let's have a more interesting example. Say we have a list of 2 values and we compare this list against another list. And actually we don't want to have the comma, we want to compare it. So what do you think is the result of this code snippet? So yeah, yesterday we have learned that we can actually use comparison operator like less than, greater than, and so on lists as well. Actually, we can use it on all comparables that implement the respective dunder methods, and we will dive into this, like how to implement the less than operator on custom Python objects later in this video. Yeah, but for now, just know that it actually checks. It goes from the first element in the list or in any other iterable for that matter, and compares the first elements. And only if those are equal, it proceeds with the second element, third element, and so on. Okay, so it actually compares is 1 less than 0, which is already false, so it returns false immediately, right? This is called short circuiting, so it actually doesn't evaluate, it doesn't go over the whole list. It just checks as many operations as are needed to determine the result of the operation. And but what if you, like, for example, if the first values of the list are the same, like in this case, let's have this example. Here we have 2 lists. Both lists start with 1, so with the same element. Then it actually proceeds and checks the second element and checks whether the second element is less than the second element of the second operand, which is also a list. And in this case, it is true. Okay, then another special case is, for example, if you have one list here and check whether this list is, say, less than this list. So this now looks a bit strange, right? But it's actually also pretty straightforward and intuitive if you get the concept once. So we go from left to right. So we check 1 less than 1. We cannot decide yet. 2 less than 2, we cannot decide, so we move on. Now we don't have a third element here, but we have a third element here, and actually having an element is already is considered to be greater than having no element. So you could think of this list is filled in with negative infinity, right? So we compare negative infinity against even negative 10,000, and of course, I mean, this is greater than, so in this case the result would be true. Okay, and we can do the same with strings. So the same concepts apply for strings. We can have AA, BB, and check if this is less than, say, BB, AA. And this is of course the case. So because we start with the first characters and we move our way to the right, and we see immediately with the first character we can already see A is less than B. It just takes the ordinal number. So basically, if you use the built-in ord function, you can pass in a character, and this gives you a numeric representation of each character. So this is the ordinal number of A. So say you can think of it as the Unicode number in decimal form, and you can see A and B, they are subsequent. They have subsequent ordinal numbers, so subsequent numbers in the Unicode alphabet. So therefore, it uses this basically as a basis of comparison to check which is less. Which character is less than which other character, right? For example, in this case, A would be less B because the ordinal number of A is less than the ordinal number of B. Okay, so now I think there's only one thing left which we should maybe check. So say we have a custom class person, and our class has a constructor. This done the init method. Always, like, each method takes the self argument, and then we set self, say we have name and we have age, and now we need to pass 2 more arguments into the constructor. So now this is our custom object. Now we can create a person like Alice, and Alice's name is Alice, and maybe her age is 18. Then we have another character like person, person, and say we have Bob, and Bob is 21. And now we print Alice smaller Bob and Bob smaller Alice. So this is actually the less than operator. We can apply it on custom objects, but if we don't implement, if we don't do nothing else, if we don't do anything else here, we get an exception, and it just tells me the less than operation is not supported between instances of person and person. So it is not per default supported on any arbitrary objects. You need to explicitly define the less than interface with this dunder method, less than, and it takes two arguments. The first one is a pointer to itself, to the object itself, on which you call the less than operator. So actually this one here again is the same as checking bob.dunder less than operator on Alice. Okay, so this is just like syntactic sugar. This less than operator is syntactic sugar for this method call here. So basically we check like the first argument is always a pointer to the object itself on which you call the method, and the second one is a pointer to the other object with which you want to compare it actually. So in this case we can like reduce our less than operator. So we can now create a custom less than operator. We need to return something, right? Boolean value either true or false based on the attributes of my own object self or the other person, like the other object. And we can, for example, do other.age is smaller than other dot. No, we should have self.age is less than other.age, something like this. So we can actually reduce it on the to the age, and now in this case it would be false, yeah, because Alice here in this case Alice is less than Bob in terms of age, and Bob is less than Alice is false in terms of age. So in this case we have true and false as return values, which you can see here. But if we can also like use the name, for example, as a basis of comparison. In this case Alice would be still be less, right? Because A is less than B. So in this case, we would still have the same output, true and false. Okay, we can also, but say Alice would now be called, say, Kleis. So now if you run the code, we would actually get the reverse, right? Because C is not less than B. Okay, so this is how you can implement the less than operator on custom objects. And I think one more thing we can explore here, which is can we chain it? So yeah, we actually can chain it. So say we have a third one like Carl, and we create another person object. We call it Carl, and Carl is 24. Now we can do something like Alice less than Bob less than Carl, something like this. Actually chaining together the less than operator, and this is false. Yeah, why is it false? Because Alice smaller than Bob is, I should call Alice like this. So let's run it again. This is true because Alice is smaller than Bob in terms of the name comparison operator, and Bob is smaller than Carl is valid as well. So actually this is just syntactic sugar for Alice is smaller than Bob and Bob is smaller than Carl. Okay, so this is actually print. I want to write print. Okay, so if you run this, it's the same operation, right? So this one is basically internally Python calculates this operation instead of actually chaining together those operators, because the less than operator is a binary operator, which means that you only have two operands at any point in time that you can apply to the less than operator. Okay, but you can still do something like this, like conceptually have this compare three objects in terms of the less than relationship. Yeah, but actually Python just translate it into this two binary operations and combines it with the AND with the logical AND operator. Okay, so I think that's enough for today. Thanks for watching the video and see you in the next video. Bye.